Jack Taylor, a newly assigned director to the branch office, decided to switch things up at the office. But not for the better. He revised the salary fund, making a significant cut from the employee's salary and adding extra zeros to his own. Those who didn't hand in hastily written resignation letters because of their respective circumstances had to endure their new boss's reign of terror. Jack nitpicks about every single thing, including how messy the office was. It was hard finding cleaners because of the meager salary they offer for such a strenuous job. One morning, Jack called for a meeting. There, he expressed his dissatisfaction with Lucy Allen's, the deputy personnel officer, work. "I guess you want to be a cleaning lady instead of a personnel officer if you can't hire one," he taunted. As he paced around the room, his eyes strayed out the window where he saw a woman stacking cardboard boxes by the dumpsters. Jack opened the window and called out, "Hey, come here for a sec. Maybe I can help you." To his surprise, the woman didn't even look at him. She continued to fold the boxes and stack them neatly. This made Jack even more annoyed. Jack then instructed the guard to bring the woman to him. Once inside, the woman stared unblinkingly at Jack when he asked for her name. It was then that Jack realized the woman was deaf. The woman wears a hearing aid, although it was obviously cheap and barely does the work it was designed to do. Although obviously very poor, the woman was surprisingly neat. Her clothes, hands, face, and hair are all clean. She also doesn't have the smell inherent to homeless people. Jack said slowly, addressing the woman, "Do you want to get paid? You will clean the office." For seemingly long minutes, everyone was silent as the woman stood still. After a while, she nodded her head yes. Sarah started cleaning the office the very same day she was hired. Since then, Sarah would come to the office very early to mop the floors, wash the windows, and wipe every nook and corner. In just a week, the office is almost unrecognizable to its inhabitants. Gone were the dirt and dust that seemed to be a permanent fixture in the office. Everything looked squeaky clean. While Sarah's work was superb, the office's performance went downhill, which put Jack in a rotten mood every morning. He fired more people almost every day. Those who were fortunate, rather unfortunate enough to stay, had to suffer in silence as Jack became the boss from hell. The company owner, unhappy with how one of his branches is failing miserably in a short time, began to visit regularly to check on things. Whenever Robert visits, he sensed a heavy atmosphere, although everything and everyone appears to be working well. As Robert had built his company from the ground up on his own, he wasn't about to disregard the nagging feeling he felt every time he visited the branch. One day, he told everyone that sanitation was scheduled for all the branches and awarded the employees with a paid day off. Everyone was chatting excitedly as they left the doors. Once everyone left, several people came in and installed cameras in unlikely places so no one would notice they were there. All the cameras are connected to Robert's computer. He wanted to know what happens when he's not there. On one of his visits to the office for a meeting, he was surprised to see a well-written business development plan. "Who did this?" he asked Jack. "I'm not sure if you like it, but I worked really hard for it. So much so that I didn't get enough sleep the last few days," Jack answered when he realized that Robert was interested in the plan. Robert knew it wasn't true. For one, he knew for a fact that it wasn't Jack's, as he'd already seen what a mess Jack's handwriting is. Intrigued as to who worked on the impressive business plan, Robert decided to watch the video recordings. There, he saw that not only Jack's writing is chaotic, but the man was also the root of all the chaos in the branch office. Robert also found out that the cleaning lady was the one who advised the business plan he truly liked. The next day, Robert went back to the branch, and Jack cowered in fear. He stood like a lost puppy as the company owner unleashed his anger. Did you know that you almost single-handedly destroyed my branch? Not only did you fire almost all the employees, but did you even dare to lie to me?" Robert roared. "You have 10 minutes to pack your things and leave." Jack hurriedly went inside his office, gathered his things, and immediately left, afraid of receiving more tongue lashing. He almost stopped in his tracks, though, when he heard Robert ask for Sarah. When Sarah nervously went inside the office, she was surprised to see Robert calmly sitting behind the desk. "Come, sit down. Tell me everything about you. I know you're smart, so why are you living this way?" Robert asked Sarah. Apparently, Sarah was born into a poor family. Despite this, or perhaps because of this, Sarah loved to learn. When her parents would drink themselves to sleep, she would escape to an abandoned house she found and study there. Unsurprisingly, Sarah graduated with high honors, and she decided to enter the College of Economics. She was famous for being a diligent student and a helpful classmate. Everybody loved her. It was in college when she met her first love, David. Their interests aligned perfectly. However, while Sarah is almost dirt poor, having entered college on a scholarship, David was from an extremely wealthy family. Still, the young couple didn't let that one fact be a hindrance to their story, despite David's parents' obvious dislike of Sarah. One day, shortly after David proposed to Sarah, they decided to visit some friends outside the city. On the drive, a thick fog suddenly descended, and everything that happened afterward was a blur to Sarah. Unfortunately, David died in a car accident. Sarah was devastated by her fiancé's death. What hurt more, though, was when she wasn't allowed to see him for the last time. Sarah lost everything. What's more, she lost her hearing in the accident. She then began to wander from town to town, street to street. One day, she found an abandoned house and decided to live there. Sarah tried hard to learn how to read lips. After getting odd jobs here and there, she had enough saved for a cheap hearing aid. As Sarah's story came to an end, Robert was deep in thought. That same day, she was hired as the executive director of the branch. No one said anything because as soon as Sarah was at the helm, the branch performed splendidly. Not long after, the branch office was once again stable and thriving. Robert would still frequent the office, but this time, to pick Sarah up from work. When the two announced their upcoming wedding a few months later, no one was surprised. Soon after, Sarah was preparing to become a mom. As the doctor announced that the happy couple's first child would be a boy, Robert shouted with joy. With tears in her eyes, Sarah murmured to Robert, "Don't shout. You're hurting my ears." It dawned on Robert that Sarah's hearing had returned. Whether it is because of joy, contentment, or pregnancy hormones, the two couldn't care less. They went home to a spacious house that smelled like newly baked bread and fresh flowers.